We live in a modern and enlightened world where modern combat sports such as MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing are becoming increasingly popular. There are also countless traditional martial arts schools who still stick to their old ways and traditions and completely close their eyes to the modern world and its transformation. Sadly, it happens far too often that glorious things are promised in the beginning, but after some time turn out as they were just blowing smoke and beating around the bush. The internet is a great invention, and regrettably there are countless examples that show that many myths still persist in people's minds. Here one must certainly also put some of the blame on the martial arts films of the 70s and 80s. In this video we will look at 5 of the most popular myths about martial arts that are still believed and misunderstood by many practitioners and martial arts fans to this day. Number 1. I am a black belt, so nobody can stop me. Achieving a black belt in almost any system is no small thing you can do just on a weekend seminar. At least it shouldn't be. I hope by this point we can all agree that courses like black belt in 2 years or so-called fast ways are an extreme corruption of our martial arts world and need to be stopped immediately. In order for a practitioner to get his black belt, often thousands of hours of training spread over several years are needed to pass. Depending on the style, there are sometimes also interpersonal aspects or character exams which are examined on the way. Do you help your fellow students? Are you willing to put some work voluntarily? Can you give something back to the community? Are just examples here. But it is very naive to believe just because you have achieved a certain belt rank you are effectively unbeatable. There are so many more variables to a fight, such as is it a ruled fight in a tournament or a street fight? Is your opponent bigger or stronger than you? What is your surrounding? Does your opponent have martial arts, military or self-defense training?
Those techniques in their own studio.
So definitely a little foreign.
On November 23rd, a man they'd seen before came into the building.
When he came back this time, he had a bow staff with him. He was a little erratic, but he wasn't threatening.
Then,
within about 10-15 minutes of him sitting down, he got up and started mimicking some of the movements.
Staff asked the man to stop, but he grew more disruptive and was asked to leave.
When he turned to my wife and yelled at her, I started to move in. He clenched his fist and I tied up with him.
Holding him until police came.
He was very articulate. There were times where he was calling out the moves that I was holding him in, so he obviously had some training to know these things.
Surveillance video captured the altercation, and now the duo uses it as a teachable moment.
Here you can see Mike moving to transition to full mount.
The one thing that I think people can take away from this is they can see how quickly something can escalate from seemingly absolutely nothing to a hands-on confrontation.
Yes, I split those because each of these topics are completely different things nowadays. While the rank of black belt can definitely help you in a fight, it does not guarantee you a sure victory. Number 2. Martial arts teach me how to beat multiple opponents. Martial arts movies are great, and most of us started going into martial arts class because we wanted to be like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan or Donnie Yen. It is awesome to see our heroes in action, fighting against waves of opponents and doing astonishing stunts and performances. With the absolute exception of Jackie Chan, which did almost all his stunts by himself, yes, the guy's nuts, it is just this, a choreographed scene. It looks awesome but does not reflect the real world of fighting. Training in martial arts is absolutely beneficial, and theoretically martial arts can teach you how to fight multiple opponents, but it is a very unlikely scenario. Yes, there is footage on the internet where you can see a lone martial arts practitioner who clearly has trained before succeeding over 2 or more opponents in a street fight. This is rather rare and not everyday occurrence. Most likely you will get in trouble because one of them is going out of your eyesight and will attack you out of nowhere. It is also fairly possible that somebody has a weapon or brings his big and strong cousin. Those things can change the situation so dramatically that it gets more and more unlikely for you to win the fight. If you train, you will be able to defend yourself to a certain degree, but you can still be overwhelmed by a blow to the back of your head or to the side. Any of those hits in the real world scenario can be fatal, leaving you behind with severe injuries. So why not just start learning how to defeat one single opponent first? Number 3. A trainer needs to be a good fighter in order to teach how to fight. As we discussed previously, people and their abilities are highly individual. Sometimes the best student in a university with only A grades is the worst employee, because he or she can't put the horsepower on the road. Same goes with fight coaches and trainers. A trainer can be a former champion, but it's not a mandatory accomplishment a good trainer needs. Because when you train people, it's no longer about yourself, it's about your students. A good coach needs to have a completely different skill set than a professional athlete, because it's the trainer's job to elevate his student to his or her highest level possible. Coaches like Greg Jackson, Ricardo Liborio, Wolfgang Unsold or Stefan Kinsel are highly sought and incredibly successful coaches in their sports, without ever having won in the UFC, Mr. Olympia or the Olympic Games themselves. It's their ability to analyze an athlete's weak links and help them out to overcome and perform, which makes them outstanding. By helping frustrated or tired athletes learn the right way to handle their toughest emotions, good coaches can keep their fighters' head in the game and deliver a performance they would be proud of. Sure, winning a title or two can help in the beginning of a coaching career, but it's by far not a guarantee for long-term success. Number 4. Martial arts will guarantee me winning over a stronger and bigger opponent. This myth also comes from our beloved martial arts films. Scenes such as where the small Master Ip can withstand the much taller and stronger Mike Tyson are to blame here. It's no wonder people want to learn this skill set, and some martial arts schools even advertise with it, claiming that by learning their techniques you will beat any opponent no matter of size and strength differences. Speaking from a personal experience where I have fought in tournaments where there are no weight classes, this makes me absolutely cringe and leaves me puzzled. How people still believe that strength and muscle are no valid attributes in a fighting situation. For sure, there can be that perfect situation where your opponent has no martial arts training, maybe the sun is blinding him and a bird is shitting on his face. But usually attributes as arm reach, mass, height difference are natural advantages. So shape up or ship out. Why do you want to learn this skill set rather than just becoming stronger yourself? Number 5. Lifting weights make you slow and unflexible. Common misconception about physical attributes we hear a lot of times. People who have never trained or even trained athletes think of this because they see bodybuilders like Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman, who are such muscular massive beasts that they can barely scratch their own backs and therefore need to be physical analphabets when it comes to martial arts. Sure, when you only train in bodybuilding, you are not going to be a good martial artist. Simply put, you become good at what you train at. But when we see fighters like Alan Galani, Alistair Overeem or Paulo Costa, who are we to decide that a decent amount of muscle is a drawback? Are you really convinced that your techniques are that good that you would put them down to test with one of those guys in a real-life resisting scenario? Actually, the opposite is the case. More muscle does not only increase the ability of your body's capacity to work, they also provide you with a natural shield protecting your tendons and ligaments against injuries. Good structured workout program including weights does not only make you more flexible, stronger and healthier, also your martial arts is going to benefit tremendously by increasing kicking and punching power, speed, more endurance and a better understanding of what is going on in your body. So make sure that you incorporate 1 or 2 weightlifting sessions every week to your regular martial arts training. And if you want the best exercises for that, I will link you a video in the info card and in the video description you can check out for that. If you like this video, please boop the like button now. By doing that, you are helping me and my little YouTube project tremendously, and this video can spread to more people and get them educated. And if you want to learn more about some other very common martial arts myths that are out there in the world, go out and check this video next.